has. Oh, and there's some cold medicine. Very nice, very nice. Well, we are, welcome everybody, and welcome everybody that's just tuned in on the web. We're live, international, World Wide Web. Like this crowd's not, they're hard to impress.
Yes.
They're good. With Traci Kanaan, the Princess of Parodies, and I've known Traci for a long time because you started right here.
I did.
In this town. And you grew up where?
I grew up in Berea, Ohio, on the west side of Cleveland. I'm a member of the West Side Catholics.
And your family dynamic, brothers, sisters.
I met mom, dad, me. That was it.
Just the three of you.
And
your mom is here tonight.
My mom is here tonight.
She's here. She's right in the back of the room. Exactly.
She is here.
Yes, she is. And is hubby here tonight too?
No, I couldn't make it.
No, good. All right, we can talk about it. And
he'd already seen 5 shows this week. He goes,
right.
"Please don't make me see a 6th."
Very supportive he is. And so you grew up in Ohio. I know that you grew up kind of working in your family business, correct?
Right.
My
parents had a printing company that they started when I was 6 months old, and I started working there when I was 8, up until when I was 16, when my mom fired me the first time. Something about a shitty attitude. I don't know. And then I went back a couple years later. I think I got fired again, but I had the last laugh. I was working for them, and then I quit to move to Florida to be with my husband.
Now,
or he wasn't I was shacking up at the time.
Shacking up, all right. And now, did you go to college?
Yes, I went to, it is now Otterbein University in Westerville, Ohio, which is a suburb of Ohio State. Or Columbus. And
you mentioned in your show you got a degree.
Bachelor of Arts in Music and Business with a minor in Music Composition, Electronic Music, and Piano Performance.
And now, when you got that degree, and people should know, it was many years after that before you got into this.
Right.
When you got that degree, did you have a mindset that you were going to use music as your professional career?
You know, I had no idea. I was really bad at everything else, so I needed to get a degree that was easy for me. I can't do math. I'm okay at English. Science is out of the question. I still don't even know how to make my windshield wipers, my windshield defog, and I just music was all I was good at. So my mom insisted that I get a 4-year degree, so I needed to make it as absolutely easy as possible. And then they wanted me to take over the printing business, and I had to make myself as absolutely unqualified as possible to take over that business, which I succeeded in.
Very good. And you really didn't have aspirations of being a professional musician or a music teacher or anything along that line?
I wanted to manage rock and roll bands, and then I graduated in 1991, and there was a nice little recession. A friend of ours had a job up the street at a clock store, so I sold cuckoo clocks for 3 years over the phone. How hard is that?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That'll make you a performer.
But one of our clients was Disney World, and we actually wholesaled cuckoo clocks to different retail clock stores.
Oh, cool.
All over the country.
Whenever I see a cuckoo clock at Disney, I'll think of you.
Thanks.
Cuckoo, Traci. So then you moved here with your husband to be at the time.
Right. He was already here. We met at a service club conference in Toronto, and I saw him in the hallway, and I said, "That's what I want for Christmas." And that was July, and I had him for Thanksgiving dinner.
Nice.
We dated long distance, Florida to Ohio for 4 months.
Oh, great.
And then things weren't going where I wanted them to in Ohio, and I called him up. I said, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow?" And he says, "Nothing." I go, "Can I move in?" He goes, "All right." And we'd seen each other in person 16 days.
And you've been together ever since. How many years now?
We've been together, 17 since we met, and then our 15th anniversary is the same day as yours.
Right.
So-
At the end of this month.
Yep.
Now, when I met you, when you down here, you had your own business, basically paraphernalia, knickknacks,
Tchotchkes.
tchotchkes.
Cheap plastic
If
shit.
you wanted T-shirts, if you wanted bumper stickers, if you wanted pens, if you wanted key rings, if you wanted anything like that, Traci was selling promotional items, correct?
Yep, Traci Keychain Advertising Specialties, and the business is still in existence.
Yes. And at that time when I met you, now you came through the comedy class, correct? That we have here through the Humor Institute, and at that time you were doing well. You had a small business. You knew how to market. You knew how to network. You had a business plan, correct? Yes. And you're in service organizations like
Manatee Chamber of Commerce and Rotary. I'm still in Rotary,
Rotary
actually.
Club, and that type of thing. So you came from that business, and then you got into the stand-up comedy because it just hit you and you loved it. Right?
I was like, man, I am too successful. What can I do to fuck this up? Stand-up comedy.
Yeah, you get on stage, and what happens?
Well, I had my own business. I had 3 employees, and I hated it. I hated management. I hated every part of it, and I just I decided to sell for another company and just collect a commission check. I fired my employees. I sold my building that the business was in, so I could do comedy full time.
And that is and that's quite a transition because you make no money in comedy and for a while.
I'm still not.
No. And
I just love it.
Yeah, and I'm not paying it. So now, when you went into stand-up comedy, did you use that business? Did you use the same business discipline to develop, the show that you've developed? Did you have a business plan? Did you have goals? Did you have a strategy behind it? Because so many artists don't.
I would be one of those.
So
I just knew I wanted to perform, and I needed something that would give me the flexibility. I did do a production with Manatee Players in Coburnick Ancient Pavilion. I was in Tony and Tina's wedding about 10 years ago, and that was theater was just so demanding because you have to be at rehearsals for a month straight, and then you have 2 weeks of shows solid. I needed something that would work with my schedule. So stand-up comedy, if I had a big show for my other business, I could decline the gig, or I could work everything around my stand-up comedy schedule.
And then you basically started. You came in on open mic nights. Traci would come in. You were just up here delivering your jokes, your bits. You threw a little bit of this into it, and then how did the Princess O Parodies evolve?
I felt like every time somebody said, "Oh, I was just on a cruise ship," I go, "Who is the comic?" They go, "Oh, I can't remember." I'm like, well, why is that? And I think a lot of comics don't have the marketing background that I have, so I tried to create something that was unique to me that you would remember me. How many other comics do you know play a keyboard? Like, none. So I tried to create that brand, and the Princess of Parodies, I'm also a wordplay freak. I love Scrabble and word games. I like alliteration, so the Princess of Parodies just kind of happened, and I started to roll with it. And from there, I had the tiara made. I found a lady who did wedding headpieces in New Jersey, had the tiara made. And then maybe 9 months later, I added a princess costume that I got at Circuit City. And I just tried to create something that you would remember. Not Circuit City. The costume place by Circuit City in Bradenton. Party City, thank you.
Wow, that's how small a town this is. Everybody goes, I know the place.
I know right where that is.
I got that. It's Party City. It's Bob. It's Bob, Frank, and Joan have that.
So that was the deal, was to create something that you would remember, use my music, and just create an entertainment experience rather than just somebody standing up.
And we talk about that so often in the comedy industry. One, there is great prejudice in the entire industry for anyone that does anything that is not just monology. If you are not a straight monologist, if you use any kind of props or tricks or music or magic or anything like that, to the industry as a whole, that's very kind of looked down on. that is not true stand-up comedy.
And try being female.
And personally, and I teach it when we talk about the Humor Institute. I teach that that is the biggest crock of bullshit. Because the audience is here to laugh, and you're not concerned with how that happens up here. You're just concerned that you laugh and enjoy the show. And branding too. Like Tracy said, nobody remembers the name of comics. People come up to me all the time and go, when's that guy coming back that talks about the balloon thing or something? It's something like that. They never ever remember your name. Ever, never. Jeff Dunham, who is now maybe one of the most famous comics in the world, the ventriloquist, and still, I bet to this day, and he is huge. He is a huge mega conglomerate now, hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think there's still people that don't know his name that just go, that guy that's with Peanut and Walter. The guy that talks for the jalapeno guy. I mean, really, literally, it's amazing. So I think the branding that you've done has been so good, and it's the greatest way that you can take that step in this industry, because nightclubs, like here, nightclubs are the lowest ebb of money. Where you make money is where? Going and doing private shows and corporate parties. Shows and niche shows. Now, and she knows this is coming. There is a one-nighter in this area that has been going on for a while, and it's a nudist colony, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
We prefer clothing optional resort.
Clothing optional resort that does stand-up comedy. Yes. And Tracy, right? Tell them your.
I performed there a couple years ago, and the people really, really liked me. And
yes.
Well, I thought about this. I'm like, why, of all the comics that went through there, why did they embrace me? They kept having me back every 6 to 8 weeks. It's a nudist resort. They're highly visual people, and my show is very, very visual. My show's a little bit smarter. You need to have some music references, and overall, I think from most comedy clubs that I perform, aside from McCurdy's, when I get out of McCurdy's, comedy audiences aren't that smart. So my show has been dumbed down for that, but here I bring it up a little bit. And then also at the clothing optional resorts, I bring it up as well. But they're highly visual people. So I perform at clothing optional resorts all over the world now.
We do have some of the most sophisticated audience in the country.
That is true.
Every comedian that comes here tells us that. You guys actually pay attention and listen. I'm telling you, it's like short attention span theater everywhere else. Crack a bullwhip above them. And so that's been kind of an accidental niche that has come up. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I think is interesting is when you first stepped up on this stage as a stand-up, you mentioned it in your show, you have lost how much weight since then?
It's probably now 87 pounds.
Almost 100 pounds.
Officially 85.
Almost 100 pounds. Now, and do you feel that being on stage and this character and everything you do has been the inspiration to do that, or do you think you would have done it anyway?
I would have gotten there anyway. I didn't want to be fat anymore. I've been fat my entire life. I just didn't want to be fat anymore. And my father passed away in 2006, and I just decided, all right, I'm done. I didn't like the health problems that he had, and I said, you know what, I'm taking my life into my own hands, and I'm not going to have those health problems. So that was what started it 6 years ago when I started to lose the 85 pounds. And then I had a couple of relapses. I had some family issues, and I put about 40 of it back on, and I'm now taking that last 40 off. So. And when you,
and I know that by doing that, you don't do it with tricks. You don't do it with pills and medication. You don't do it with any type of, to my knowledge, with any type of like gimmick diet. Nope. You eat correctly and you work out.
Weight Watchers and exercise. I eat well-balanced. The thing with weight loss, if you don't fix your head, anything else you do to your body doesn't matter. If you still have the same bad attitudes towards food and towards yourself and towards eating, if you don't fix your head, you're not going to fix your body. I don't care, gastric bypass, it doesn't matter. You have to fix your head.
And do you think that moving into comedy and doing something that you just truly adore doing and not worrying about the money or anything like that, but just helped you do that?
No, I think performing at the clothing optional resort, I started to worry.
Because you're clothed, like you're performing for these people, you're clothed and they're nude. Mm-hmm. It's like you always say, you get nervous to picture the whole audience nude. Well, they are.
They are.
They are.
And you have no idea what jiggles when you laugh.
Oh.
I've seen it up close.
It's amazing. Amazing. Well, Traci, I have one last question for you, but if there's anybody out in the audience that would like to ask a question, you're welcome to. Is any curiosity at all? Sometimes we get questions, sometimes we don't. What? Mom's right there in the corner.
Is she? She's in the bag.
Well, we're not bringing Mom up on stage, but you'll see her.
You'll see her on the way out.
You'll see her on the way out. She's very obvious. That's good. Yes.
Thank you.
That's great. Last question is, and I ask everybody this, is there like a great bit that you really want to write, that you really want to put on stage that you haven't yet? That it might be a personal, something very, very personal to you, or it might be something, some social issue that you're very passionate about. It could be something that's very disturbing to you. It could be something you're very excited about, that you go, boy, if I could put that into the right piece, it would really mean a lot to me.
Once I got to my goal weight, which I'm about there now, my next project was to write a mystery based on my experiences traveling in and out of comedy clubs. And I'm starting to put together the outline for that mystery where all the characters, if you've ever come here on an open mic and seen the different open micers, they're all fucked up. Everyone. And you don't do this because you're well adjusted. I'm the first one to tell you. You don't do this because you have your shit together.
Except
you just
me.
Don't. You got lucky. You had your shit together more than most. But when you go to an open mic, the personality quirks amongst all the open micers are so out there, and I thought it would be a very compelling murder mystery to have a waitress knocked off in a comedy club as she's coming in to clean it, and then all the open micers and the headliner who's visiting are suspects. Oh, so that is actually my next project now that I am at my goal weight.
And that's a book.
Right, and I'm calling, I don't think this will be the final title, but I'm calling it Knock 'em Dead. But that's the, I don't think I'll settle on that title, but that's the next project for me, because the personalities in comedy, once you start going to the open mics, you're like, oh, dude, he does 20 minutes of poopy jokes. What's wrong with that boy? You know? And that's what I want to capture.
Excellent.
In a book.
Excellent. We'll look forward to that. Traci has a website. Most comics' websites are their name. Of course, if you're ever curious, you see a comic and go, I wonder, if you just Google their name, usually their website is there. You have a website. You have things to sell after the show, which you've already said, and she'll be right back here with her mom. If you guys would like to pick up some of that stuff, or you can get it on the website.
Yeah. On your postcard. My website's on the postcard. And then I'm also going to be coming out with a second website probably this week called Laughing All the Way, WEIGH. And that will be like a blog of my weight loss. I'm actually going to become the funniest Zumba instructor in about 2 weeks.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thanks everybody for coming out and sticking around for the webcast. Thank you, Traci. See everybody again soon. Take care. Good night.